Hi all, welcome to Shankar IAS Academy's daily newspaper analysis. I'm Monihar Ravishankar who is presenting today's news analysis of 14th February 2025. Without any delay, let's get into today's list of articles. Look at this list of articles. The first article which is taken from the Indian Express, is about House has jurisdiction. That is, this article talks about the High Court judges removal, approval and appointment procedures which was followed in Indian jurisdiction. The second article, which is also taken from the Indian Express, which talks about space cameras to paint. This is all about Chandrayaan 3 mission, which was successfully landed in the lunar orbit. In this article, we are going to see in detail about Chandrayaan 3 mission, how it is connected to the daily life, which was very important from prelims point of view. Look at this third article, which is taken from the Live Mint newspaper, which talks about SEBI seeks access to social media records. In this article, we are going to see in detail about SEBI's organizational structure and the functions which are done by the SEBI and the very strict regulations which was involved in the capital market management in India. Look at this fourth article, which is taken from the Hindu newspaper, which talks about presidential rule in Manipur. In this article, we are going to see in detail about presidential rules jurisdiction in Indian constitution from prelims point of view. These four articles are very important from prelims perspective, so take a note on this article. Without any delay, let's get into today's article discussion. Look at this article. This article discusses about Rajya Sabha chairman Jagdeep Dhankar addressed the opposition MP's move to impeach Allahabad High Court judge who is Shekhar Yadav over alleged hate speech, stating that the House has jurisdiction over the matter. In this case, the impeachment notice was signed by 55 MPs who cites Justice Yadav's remarks backing the Uniform Civil Code as communal disharmony. In this, the Supreme Court Collegium sought his response, but he defended his statements, claiming that they didn't breach judicial conduct. In this article, we are going to see in detail about Supreme Court's High Court's judges' power, their tenure and the privileges who was enjoyed by the High Court judges with the procedure of removal of High Court judges. This topic is very important from prelims point of view. This topic is comes under polity. We can expect definitely one question from judiciary from polity subject, so take a note on this article. Now let's see what are all the powers and functions which was conducted by the High Court judges in India. First of all, when we come to the appointment of High Court judges, it was comes under the Article 217 Part 1 of the Indian Constitution. It states that every judge of the High Court shall be appointed by the President by warrant under his hand and seal after consultation with the Chief Justice of India, the Governor of the state. In the case of appointment of a judge other than the Chief Justice of the High Courts, who are all involved in this High Court judge appointment, he was directly appointed by the President. In this appointment, let's see some of the roles and responsibilities of Collegium. In this appointment, Collegium consists of Chief Justice of India and the 4 senior most judges of the Supreme Court, with the role of recommending appointments and transfer of High Court judges. With the memorandum of procedure outlines the procedure, emphasizing the Collegium's responsibility in ensuring suitable candidates are recommended to this post. This is all about the appointment of High Court judges. Now let's move on to the qualifications of High Court judges, which was conducted in Indian jurisdiction. When it comes to qualification, this qualification comes under same Article 17 Part 2 of the Indian Constitution. It emphasizes that he or she must be a citizen of India to become a High Court judge, and he or she must have held a judicial office in a territory of India for at least 10 years or been an advocate of High Court, or else 2 or more such courts in succession for at least 10 years. These are all the qualifications required for the High Court judges with the recommendation of collegium's appointment procedure. Now let's see some of the transfer procedures of High Court judges. When it comes to transfer of High Court judges, it was stated under the Article 222 Part 1 of the Indian Constitution. As per this article, the President, after consultation with the Chief Justice of India, may refer or transfer a judge from one High Court to any other High Court which is working under the jurisdiction of India. In this role of Supreme Court's collegium was the collegium who recommends transfer to ensure better administration of justice and to maintain the independence of the judiciary in that particular state. This is the functions which are all done by the collegium in the appointment and the transfer of High Court judges. Now let's move on to the key cases which was associated with this transfer cases so far. The first one is SP Gupta versus Union of India case. It was the first judge case, that is CJ. It was also known as the first judge case. It deals with the primacy of the Chief Justice of India's recommendation in judicial appointments and transfers. The another one important case is Supreme Court Advocates on Record Association versus Union of India case. It is otherwise called as second judge case. It emphasizes the role of collegium in judicial appointments and transfers. These two cases are very important from the point of view of High Court judges appointment and transfer purpose. Take a note on these two judgments. These are all about High Court judges appointment, qualification and transfer procedures which was followed under the Indian Constitution with the help of collegium and Chief Justice of India. Now let's move on to the salaries, allowance and privileges of this High Court judges in Indian jurisdiction. When it comes to salary and allowance with the privileges, these are all comes under the Article 221 of the Indian Constitution, which clearly states that the salaries of High Court judges are determined by Parliament and these salaries cannot be reduced during their term of office except during a financial emergency, which was declared under the Article of 360. We all know that Article 360 is associated with India's financial emergency, which was declared by the President. If President was declared a financial emergency in the nation, salaries and allowance of the government officials may come down. Except that condition, High Court judges' salaries and allowance will not be reduced under their tenure. Now let's move on to the powers and functions of High Court judges. When it comes to the powers, Article 226, which emphasizes High Court to issue writ for the enforcement of fundamental rights and for any other purposes. This was very important from prelims point of view because High Court's writ jurisdiction is very wider than Supreme Court's writ jurisdiction. That is, when it comes to writ, High Court is more powerful than Supreme Court, which was followed in Indian jurisdiction. This point was very important, so take a note on this point. Next, we are going to see about Article 227, which deals with grants of High Courts, the power of superintendent over all courts and the tribunals within their jurisdiction. This is about the subordinate and other district courts, which are functions under this state High Courts. And then the original jurisdiction which was followed by the High Court is, it is very important in terms of election petition challenging the election of members of Parliament or members of Legislative Assembly. This original jurisdiction is also a very important power when it comes to High Court, which will be the decisive authority with respect of election petitions, with respect to challenges of election of member of Parliament and also the member of Legislative Assembly. The another one is appellate jurisdiction. This appellate jurisdiction is over civil and criminal cases which are all referred from subordinate courts. This is all about powers and functions of high courts, which all we have to remember for the exam perspective. Now let's see some of the high courts control over subordinate jurisdiction. When it comes to high courts control over subordinate courts, this comes under the article 235 of the Indian Constitution. It vests high court with administrative and disciplinary control over the subordinate judiciary within their jurisdiction. This clearly states in the article 235. After that, article 233, which also deals with the appointment of district judges by the governor in the consultation with the relevant high court judge. These two jurisdictions are the representations of control over subordinate courts, which are works under the state high courts. Now let's see the subordinate courts of high courts and their tenure and conditions of services, which was followed under the Indian Constitution. When it comes to district courts, when it comes to district court judges, their tenure was limited to until the age of 60. After that, they may resign by writing under their hand addressed to the president. Now let's see some of the important aspects of removal of high court judges. When it comes to the removal, the grounds and process of removal are identical for both Supreme Court and High Court judges. The second one is the only difference is the Supreme Court judges is removed under Article 124 Part 4, while a High Court judges are removed under Article 217 Part 1 with the subclass of B of the Indian Constitution, which states that High Court judges can be removed only in the manner prescribed in the Article 124 Part 4 and 5, which applies to Supreme Court judges also. The next one is ground for removal is particularly proven, that is misbehavior or incapacity. These terms are not explicitly defined in Constitution, so it is broadly classified. So if the High Court judge is proven as misbehaved or incapable, who act against the Indian Constitution, they can be comes under the removal of the High Court judges process. When it comes to the process, the initiative was required by the 100 Lok Sabha members or 50 Rajya Sabha MPs. After that, administration comes under speaker or chairman decides whether to accept the motion or not. After that, investigation committee was appointed with the 3-member committee who are all Supreme Court judge, High Court Chief Justice and the jurisdict, who examines these charges and decide with the investigations. This investigations report was again sent to the parliamentary debate. After that, voting was called, that was needed special majority in both the houses, that was total majority plus 2/3 present, and voting was required to remove the High Court judge. After that, it was passed to the president. The president issues an order for removal of High Court judge. This is the process with regard to the removal of High Court judges, which was very similar to Supreme Court judges removal. These are all about the powers and functions, qualification, terms and tenure, and the salary allowances and the privileges with the removal purpose of High Court judges in Indian jurisdiction. This I hope you are all very clear about this topic, High Court judges removal. So let's move on to the prelims practice question. Look at this question. Consider the following statement regarding the appointment and tenure of High Court judges in India. Statement 1. A High Court judge is appointed by the President of India after the consultation with Chief Justice of India, Governor of the respective state. The second statement is the retirement age of the High Court judges is 65 years. The third statement is a High Court judge can be transferred by the President of India in consultation with the Chief Justice of India. The fourth one is the salary allowances of the High Court judges cannot be reduced under any circumstance. Which of the statements given above are correct? Option A 1 and 3 only, option B 2 and 4 only, option C 1, 3 and 4 only, option D 1, 2, 3 and 4. The correct answer is 1 and 3 only, because the retirement age of High Court judges are marked as 62 until the age of 62, which was clearly given in the Constitution of India. This fourth statement is also wrong because it cannot be reduced under any circumstance they given, but it is not true. Under the Indian jurisdiction, they can be reduced under the circumstance of financial emergency, which was announced by the president. At that case, High Court judges salary and allowance will be reduced. That's all about this article. Let's move on to next article. Look at this article. This article is about SEBI seeks greater access to social media records. As per this SEBI's request, current IT laws governing social media and digital platforms should be concentrated. Now let's see important Information Technology, that is IT Act 2000 and Information Technology Act 2021. Let's see the overview of these two acts, and we have to move on to the SEBI's powers and the functions within the composition of SEBI. This topic is very important from prelims perspective. Under the topic of Indian economy, we can expect definitely one question from the banking and this banking terms with the organizations which are all associated with the banking. So take a note on this article. First, we have to know about IT Act 2000. When it comes to IT Act, the main law regulating digital platform in India. This was governs under cyber crimes, e-commerce and the intermediary liabilities who are all around the social media. And the important one is social media platform like WhatsApp, Telegram, Meta's Facebook, Instagram are classified as intermediaries. That means they are not directly responsible for third party contact. This is all about the Information Technology Act 2000, which we have to know. After that, we have to also see about Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules 2021. Under this rule, there are some mandatory social media platform regulations are there. The first one is appoint a grievance officer for content regulation. The second one is removal unlawful content within 36 hours of government notice, and also it emphasizes to enable traceability and first originator of message, especially for WhatsApp and Telegram. These all are the very important rules which are associated with IT Act 2000 and IT Act Rule 2021. With this act, SEBI has some of the issues and the discomfort. Let's see what is that. Issues related to social media regulations with respect to SEBI. The first one is SEBI cannot access private chats or call records because it is not recognized as an authorized agency under the IT Act. This will create a discomfort with respect of SEBI's function. The second one is law enforcement agencies like ED, DRI and income tax departments have this power, but SEBI didn't have this power. This will limit the SEBI's power towards the criminals. This is all about this article. This IT Act and IT Rules 2021 didn't give SEBI the proper recognition with respect to social media control. That is the issue now. This is the broader view of this issue. In this article, we have to concentrate from prelims point of view. At that moment, SEBI was very important from prelims point of view. So let's see in detail about SEBI. SEBI is one of the India's economical and financial organization. It was established in 1988. It only have statutory status until the year of 1992. After that, it was given as some more powers. Its headquarters was located in Mumbai, and its works under the Ministry of Finance, and also its motto is to protect the interest of investors in security and to promote the development and regulation of the security market. When it comes to the regulators, it regulates security market, investor protection, fair trading practices. These are all the foremost functions of SEBI. This is about the SEBI's organization structure. Now let's move on to the composition of SEBI. The SEBI consists of one chairperson who was appointed by the Government of India and two officials from the Union Ministry of Finance and one member from the Reserve Bank of India, and also 5 other members who are all appointed by the central government, including at least 3 whole-time members. This is about the composition of SEBI. Now let's move on to the functions of SEBI. First one we are going to see is regulatory function. It frames rules and regulations for capital market and regulates stock exchange, mutual fund, depositories and intermediaries, that was brokers, investment banks, etc. It also prohibits insider trading and unfair trade practices. These are all the regulatory functions which are all done by SEBI. Now let's see some of the development functions which was handled by SEBI. It promotes investors' education and financial literacy, and also it introduces reforms in market infrastructure, example, dematerialization of shares. Now let's come to the protective function of SEBI. When it comes to protective function, it prevents fraudulent activities like market manipulation, and also it monitors corporate governance and transparency towards it. It also protects small investors from misleading financial advices. These are all the very important and key functions which are all comes under regulatory development and protective functions of SEBI. Now let's see some of the key regulations and acts administered by SEBI. The first one is SEBI Act 1992. It empowers SEBI to regulate the security market. This is the foremost function of the SEBI. The second one is Securities Contract Regulation Act 1956. It regulates the stock exchange and trading within the territory of India. The third one is Depository Act 1996, which establishes the electronic depository system for securities. The next one is Prohibition of Insider Trading Regulation Act 2015. It also prevents the unfair stock trading within the organization. The next one is Mutual Fund Regulations Act 1996, which governs mutual funds in India. The next one is Listing Obligations and Disclosure Requirement Regulation 2015. This ensures transparency in stock market with the listed companies. These are all the key regulations administered by the SEBI. Now let's move on to the SEBI's role in market regulation. When it comes to SEBI's market regulation, the first and foremost thing is the regulating stock exchanges. The regulation of stock exchanges. The second one is supervises initial public offerings to prevent scams. The next one is ensuring transparency in mutual fund and derivative tradings. It also acts against market frauds. For example, Harshit Mehta scam and Sahara case. It also introduces some of the reforms. The reforms are dematerialization of shares, that is paperless trading, algorithmic trading guidelines, and the investors guidelines redressal mechanism. These are all the reforms which was exclusively introduced by SEBI for the market regulations. Even though SEBI has the severe regulations to control market activities in the Indian territory, there are some of the challenges which was faced by SEBI. Now let's see what are they. The first one is limited power over social media. That was the main issue which was talked about in this article. The SEBI cannot currently access WhatsApp or Telegram records for their investigation purpose. The second one is stock market manipulation, difficulty in tracking algorithm trading and insider trading and the front runners. The next one is cryptocurrency regulation. SEBI has no direct control over crypto market. And the next one is coordination with other agencies. That is, this SEBI must collaborate with RBI, ED, IT department for financial fraudulent cases. That was the very big lag when it comes to the administration purpose. These are all about SEBI's functions and the composition with the informative and important reforms which was exclusively conducted by SEBI. With this all information, try to solve a prelims practice question. Look at this question: which of the following is regulated by SEBI? Banking transactions, stock market trading, direct tax collection, printing currency notes. The correct answer is option B, stock market trading. This is all about SEBI. Let's move on to next article. Look at this article. This article discusses about president's rule imposed in Manipur day after CM's exit. That was, president rule was imposed on Manipur. In this article, we are going to discuss about very important topic from prelims point of view, that is presidential rule under Article 356 of the Indian Constitution. In India, Article 356 emphasizes that the presidential rule in the particular state. In this president's rule, also known as state emergency, is a provision under Article 356 of the Indian Constitution. It allows the central government to take direct control of the state machinery in case of failure of constitutional mechanism in a state. This provision is a critical aspect of the federal structure of India, which ensures that state adhere to the constitutional framework. Now let's see the constitutional provisions which are all related to this presidential rule. The first one is Article 356, which empowers the president to impose his rule over the state if he is satisfied that the governance of the state cannot be carried out in accordance with the provision of the constitution. The second one is Article 355. It imposes a duty on the union to ensure that the government of every state is carried on in accordance with the provision of the constitution. Based on these two articles of the Indian Constitution, presidential rule was imposed in the Indian state. Now let's see some of the grounds of imposition with respect to presidential rule. The first one is failure of constitutional machinery. That is, this can occur due to political instability, breakdown of law and order in the particular state, or inability of the state government to function as per the constitutional provisions. The second one is non-compliances with union direction. That is, if a state fails to comply with or give effect to any directions from the union, that is also the case and the ground which is eligible for the presidential rule. Now let's see the process of this imposition. The first of all, this presidential rule was conducted under the report of governors of the particular state. That is, typically the governor of the state sent a report to the president detailing the failure of constitutional mechanism in that particular state. Second one is president's satisfaction. The president must be satisfied that the situation warrants the imposition of president's rule. Third one is proclamation. The president issue a proclamation which must be approved by both the house of the parliament within 2 months. Parliamentary approval. The proclamation must be ratified by both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. If approved, it can last for 6 months, extendable up to 3 years with parliamentary approval for every 6 months. These are all the process involved in this imposition of president's rule in Indian Constitution. Now let's see some of the effects of presidential rule in Indian states. When it comes to effects, the first one is suspension of state government. That is, state legislative assembly is either suspended or dissolved with the recommendation of governor. Second one is central control. That is, the governor appointed by the president take over the administration acting on behalf of the president. Parliamentary legislation. Parliament assumes the power to make laws for the state. Financial power. The state's financial powers are curtailed and the union government controls the state's finance. These are all the controls over the state when it comes to the presidential rule imposition. This presidential rule faces some of the judicial reviews. Now let's see what is that and the one by one judicial reviews which are respected to this presidential rule in Indian jurisdiction. The first one is imposition of presidential rule is subject to judicial review. This was the Supreme Court case in SR Bommai case 1994, which laid down guidelines as to prevent misuse of Article 56 of the Indian Constitution. In this case, the court ruled that President's satisfaction is not beyond judicial scrutiny and that the imposition must be based on relevant material. With this all, there are some of the criticisms and misuse of this presidential rule power of Article 356 under the Indian Constitution. Now let's see what are they. First one is political misuse, that is once criticized for being used a tool by the central government to dismiss the state government of opposition party. Second one is undermining federalism. It may seen as an infringement on the autonomy of state, which is undermining the federal structure. The third one is lack of objective criteria. The subjective satisfaction of the president can lead to the arbitrary decisions. To safeguard these misuses and the criticisms, there are some of the very important benchmark judgments of Supreme Courts are there. Now let's see some of the safeguard measures with respect to this presidential rule in India. First one is SR Bommai judgment, that is in that judgment the Supreme Court provides safeguard against arbitrary use, emphasizing that the imposition must be based on objective material. The second one is parliamentary approval, that is act as the requirement of parliamentary approval, act as a check on the arbitrary imposition of presidential rule in Indian Constitution. Now let's see some of the historical instances which are associated with this presidential rule. That is first one is frequent use in early decades, that is Article 356 of the Indian Constitution was used over 100 times between 1950 to 1990, often for political reasons. The second one is post-Bommai era, that is the frequency reduced after the SR Bommai case and judgment which was given by the Supreme Court with more stringent scrutiny of the ground of imposition with respect to presidential rule in India. This is all about India's presidential rule jurisdiction. I hope you are all very clear about this topic presidential rule, which is very important from prelims point of view and also in mains perspective. So with this all information, try to solve a prelims practice question. Look at this question. Who has the authority to recommend the imposition of presidential rule in a state? Option A, Chief Minister of the state. Option B, Governor of the state. Option C, Prime Minister of India. Option D, Chief Justice of India. The correct answer is option B, Governor of the state, who is representative of the center to that particular state. With this, let's move on to the next article. Look at this article. This article discusses about how technologies developed for ISRO's space mission, including Chandrayaan-3, are finding applications in everyday life and various industries which are all associated with space technology. For that, first we have to know about Chandrayaan-3 in detail. Let's see about it. When it comes to Chandrayaan-3, Chandrayaan-3 is the third lunar exploration mission by the Indian Space Research Organization. It was successfully soft landed on the moon's surface on the date of August 23, 2023, making India the fourth country to achieve the soft landing on the moon and the first country to land near the lunar south. This is all about Chandrayaan-3 mission of ISRO. Now let's see some of the important objectives behind this mission. The first and foremost mission is demonstrate safe and soft landing on the lunar surface. The second one is to demonstrate rover who is moving on the moon. The third one is to conduct in situ scientific experiments in the moon's surface. Now let's see some of the key components which are associated with this Chandrayaan-3 mission. First one is propulsion module. It carries the lander and rover configuration until 100 km of lunar orbit. The next one is lander module, that is Vikram. which is responsible for the soft landing and developing the rover. The third one, that is rover, we all know that the Pragyan rover of Chandrayaan 3 will explore the lunar surface and conduct scientific experiments in that lunar surface. These are all the key components of this lunar mission with respect to space technology. Now let's see some of the scientific instruments which are used in this mission. The mission carries several scientific instruments to study the lunar surface, which includes Chandra's surface thermophysics experiment to measure the thermal conductivity and temperature of the lunar surface. Second one is instrument of lunar seismic activity. It is to measure seismic activities around the landing site of the lunar surface. The third one is Langmuir probe, that is to estimate the plasma density and its variation in the lunar surface. The next one is a passive laser retroreflection array from NASA. This is for Luna's ranging studies about the moon's surface. Now let's see some of the important technologies which are associated with daily life with respect to Chandrayaan 3 mission. The first one is navigation and automotive safety, which is about 3D light detection and ranging cameras used for Chandrayaan 3's landing can help to prevent car collisions. The second one is health and medicine. With the use of this 3D LiDAR camera can also be used in healthcare to access body parameters like waist to hip ratio, which can help predict the risk of lifestyle diseases. Now let's see some of the other space technologies which are all used in the daily lifestyle. First one is vibration management system, which is used in the launch vehicle and satellites to track their health and performance. Can be applied in aircraft, road and railways to detect seismic activity and prevent accidents. Then next one is corrosion resistant paint and coating. ISRO has developed NRCM 204, a corrosion resistant coating that protects metals from harsh environment. Unlike traditional coating, it remains stable in extreme temperature and is flammable retardant. The next one is thermal blankets, that is used in satellites, have been adopted for insulation in industry. Memory foam mattresses, these were originally designed for space missions, which we use in our daily life. Lithium ion battery technology, which is used in satellite, is crucial for electrical vehicles. The last one is benzosin polymer, which is developed by Indian Satellite Research Organization, which can be used in electronics and consumer goods due to stability in harsh conditions. This is all about Chandrayaan 3 mission. I hope you are all very clear about this Chandrayaan 3 mission, which is very important from prelims point of view under the topic of science and technology. Now let's move on to the prelims practice question. Look at this question: which of the following payload is not used in Chandrayaan? First is Chandrayaan's surface thermophysical experiment, instrument for lunar seismic activity, Langmuir probe and the plasma analyzer package from Aditya. The correct answer is option D, plasma analyzer package for Aditya. This is not used in the payloads of Chandrayaan 3 mission. Coming to the conclusion, if you like this video, hit like, do comment your valuable feedbacks and share it to your friends and family. At the end, don't forget to subscribe this Shankar IAS Academy's YouTube channel. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.